And what would you say to a family considering a treehouse?
Well, a treehouse is such a big word.
Okay, the space.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's considering creating that play space rather than a treehouse? Because as you have discussed, it's not just the treehouse, it's a rope bridge, it's the platforms, it's...
I think there's the answer, that they think about it as a space of creativity and imagination. And so that can take form in a number of different ways. So I don't ever want parents to think that it's necessarily expensive or unachievable or something that, they need to swap it out for something else that's amazing in their lives. Obviously, that can be the case.
Sure.
But, it starts from a nest swing, for example, which is a simple item. So I think it's important that what's embraced is the purpose, which is a creative, imaginative space that belongs to the children in the family garden, that might have a sense of being secret, a sense of being a wilderness, sense of being something special. And that's the starting
It's wonder,
place.
isn't it?
And then let's engage in a conversation. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that means in terms of the scope, the scale, how big is the garden? Are there trees? So on and so forth. And of course, conversations about budget and practicality. But I would also say that where there's the skiing holiday once a year, there's the opportunity for that or 2 or 3 skiing holidays to be the alternative of focusing on what happens on the weekends and the half terms.
So what you're doing is you're creating, when families are considering it, they are considering creating a space of wonder.
Yeah.
And why do you think wonder matters so much more in childhood nowadays than it did before?
I think and believe that so much it's something that parents and particularly grandparents are really good at giving their children and their grandchildren. It doesn't come from school so much.
Yeah.
It can do.
Yeah.
I don't think it comes from society.
Not anymore, sadly.
No. And that's becoming harder. I don't think it comes from the internet or social media.
No.
And there are, there's good and bad with all of those things. The world arguably is becoming a better place, or at least we've got to believe that it's becoming a better place. Yeah. So we're doing our job in that respect, but it's parents and grandparents, and so often, grandparents are in a really, they're perfectly placed to remember the traditional older values of childhood.
And their life has slowed down as well. So their own life has slowed down.
Yeah, they're more in contact with the slow world. Yeah. They're more in contact with what really matters. Often they've retired and they've, they're sort of, getting back into real life. Often they've got the big family garden or the big family house or the big family space. And it's possible for grandparents, they might have had 2 or 3 children, but they might also have 8 or 10 grandchildren.
How lovely.
And certainly over a period of 15, 20 years, grandchildren, and providing a space for their grandchildren that they really want to go and spend some time with their grandparents because they've got the treehouse.
How lovely. So I think we've wrapped it all up. We've looked at the beauty of play and slow play in your childhood and the importance of adventure and how it just, everybody can enjoy it, from grandparents right through down to children. And we're not saying screen time is not important. We're saying in order to create a sense of slowness and one with the nature, and to go back to natural ways of learning, outdoor activity, and creating a space could be important to a family.
Could be important. I think it's really important. I think there's a risk it gets lost. And I just wonder sometimes whether we are the generation that forgot
I hope not.
to make amazing childhoods happen.
I hope not.
And I'm sure that won't ever happen, and that's not a good thought.
No.
But there is a danger, and it's for us as grown-ups and grandparents to remember the best bits of our childhood and think about our own children and grandchildren, and think about how we make that space happen. I'll say it no more than that. It doesn't need to be a treehouse. Yeah. It's the space for imagination, for creativity, and for slow play.
Paul, what did you see in your two boys, having grown up with tree houses?
Oh, my goodness. Makes me emotional thinking about it, but it's such a joy. Such a joy to experience what they've taught me. Mm-hmm. They've given me a life of play and life of being silly and thinking about crazy, eclectic, eccentric ways of going about life. And I love them for having given that to me. They grew up with a dad who was a drummer, who created this treehouse business. They spent summer holidays and half terms out with me on site, working with me.
When they were young?
Yes, they used to come out most summer holidays and spend some time creating with me. And I still reach to them for inspiration. They're my two boys, but by definition, they are much closer to childhood than I am.
And they've experienced one of your tree houses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they are just so beautifully placed to teach me and remind me what that point of connection is. They've grown up in love with nature, in love with being connected. They understand feelings. They understand emotions. They have challenges. They have a fabulous awareness of risk, so they live much richer lives because of that, because they're prepared to take risks. And I love that. Of course, have those parental feelings of, my goodness, what are they doing? Or how are they going about things? But I'm confident and happy and endorse that, encourage that, because they've experienced risk and they can handle it, they can measure it emotionally and understand it, and also understand what risk brings to them, the joy it brings. So it's a beautiful space and it's constant.
How lovely. It sounds like you've given them a gift, and by giving them a gift, they've given you a gift back.
Yeah, I think all I've done is open a door. I've opened a space for them. Yeah.
And then they've opened the space back for you.
And they've flooded into that space.
How lovely.
And to see them fill that space, edge to edge, corner to corner, they've occupied that space that I've opened up to them and invited them into.
So we're talking physically in the treehouse, and emotionally in business as well. In life, you've
absolutely
that treehouse is more than a treehouse. It's a metaphor for experiencing life and how it takes, which wraps it right back to how we talk about how childhood development is and how important it is for everybody in the family to for that experience.
I mean, I would suggest that Treehouse is definitely a metaphor. Even for a company that designs and builds tree houses, it's a metaphor. And I would suggest that we all remember the treehouse we had as a child, or the treehouse we wished we'd had as a child.
Yeah. I have a Wendy house, so I got that nearly there.
I'm so pleased.
Thanks. Paul, that was just lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I look forward to the next one.
Wonderful. Me too.
Thanks for listening to the Treehouse Life podcast. If this episode sparked your imagination, follow along and stay connected. You can find more of our work, stories from the treetops, and adventures around the world at Treehouse Life HQ. Until next time, keep exploring.